I think we're going to call this episode Be Where Your Feet Are, or it'll be there when you get back, or The Things Can Wait. I don't know. We're going to get there. We're going to pick a title eventually, but I'm getting ready to leave on vacation. And as I sit here recording, I am swimming with thoughts. And if you're anything like me, that's when your brain decides to become incredibly productive. We are getting ready to leave and head out tomorrow, and now sitting here thinking, well, not tomorrow. When you're listening to this, I will already be back. But anyway, I'm sitting here with all these things on my mind and all these things on my brain. And so my brain gets productive or busy or anxious or whatever you want to call it. And suddenly I'm thinking about everything all at once. The grass, the emails, the podcast, making more hay, the fire department, things I have to do before I leave, things I have to do the minute I get back, things I hope don't happen when I'm gone, and my body hasn't even left yet. And I'm standing on the beginning of a couple things at the farm. It's hay season because it's summertime. We've got a couple fields done. We have a couple more to do, so that's always in the back of my mind. We have 2 pregnant mama cows at the farm, and they are ready to calve out, and I'm pretty sure as soon as I get on a plane, they're going to decide that is the opportune time to have their babies, and I won't be there to check on them and to figure out if they're male or female or, run my hands over and muss their fur up and make sure they're okay and happy and healthy. And my dad will be there, and my stepdad, and I have a support system at home that will help me with that. But it doesn't mean my brain stops thinking about it right away. But I'm going to tell my brain that it needs to, and it needs to cool it. I got this really great piece of advice from a very good friend of mine recently that said, listen, be where your feet are. And it's a mantra that they kind of adopted for a trip they took. And it's an idea that I need to really, really lean into because I haven't even left yet for vacation, and mentally I've already come home and I've piled on the things I need to do. And I think a lot of listeners have probably been there too. We all lead busy lives sometimes, no matter what the things that keep us busy are. If you're parents, kids can keep us busy. If you work a lot, if you volunteer a lot, if you are busy with your family, if you're a caregiver for someone in your life, for an older person in your life, or an older relative, all the things, if you babysit, if you nanny, if you have lots of kids or grandkids or lots of pets, all the things we do add up and they weigh on us and they never really settle into our brain. And then, or maybe they do settle into our brain and they become routine until it's time to leave. And then our brain is like, hey, wait, but what if this and what if that and what if this? And so if you've been there too, please hang out with me, lean into this idea of being where your feet are as we kind of walk through this episode. And you finally have time away, and instead of enjoying it, you're carrying next week's to-do list around like an extra suitcase. I think we've been there. And I'm trying really hard to leave that extra suitcase home and not even pack it and not even bring it. And, that be where your feet are expression, I thought a lot about it, and I'm really going to try to lean into that as I take this trip. And I think it's amazing how often our minds refuse to stay where our bodies are. I think it's crazy. We're eating dinner and we're thinking about tomorrow's meeting, or we're thinking about getting the kids to practice after dinner. We're at our kids' baseball game, and yes, we're enjoying the baseball game or the soccer game or the volleyball game, but we're thinking about work, or we're thinking about meal prep for the week, or we're thinking about what we have to make for dinner when we get back. When we're on vacation, we think about the laundry. We think about, in my case, the hay that has to be made, the calves that are going to be born. We sit on our porch and we're already worrying about Monday morning, even when it's only Saturday afternoon. And all these things kind of pile up, and physically we're present, but mentally sometimes we go somewhere else. And unfortunately, the present moment is the only place life is actually happening. I've heard lots of beautiful things and beautiful sayings about this. And someone says, like the future hasn't happened yet. And you will never, ever be able to go to the past. So literally, your life is happening in the actual present moment. And you have to live in the present moment. You can't live in the past because you can't go back there. And we certainly can't live in the future because it hasn't happened yet. And yes, we can plan and we can set goals and we can dream and hope and perform and make things, make to-do lists and make career goals and set goals for ourselves personally that we want to walk towards and march towards. And that's fantastic. But we don't get to live in the future. We only get to think about it and plan about it. And so I started making these lists before vacation. I caught myself kind of getting overwhelmed, and I stopped. And I asked myself, look, can I do any of those things when I am literally hundreds of miles away? And the answer is no, absolutely not. And then I asked myself, well, can you control them? And the answer is also not really. Can I control when the cows have their calves? Not now. I mean, I could have brought a bull in at a different time, but that would change the overall goal, or the overall timeline. But right now, I can't change what Mother Nature has in store for them. They are ready to pop here any minute, and it's going to be up to them and the full moon and God and the universe and the cow gods and all that kind of stuff. So I cannot control that. I cannot change that. I cannot do things when I'm hundreds of miles away. And then the other question I said, well, will they be there when I get back? Yes, they will. Maybe the calves will have been born, but they'll be there. My dad will send me pictures, I'm sure, when they come out, and he can take a couple pictures and send them to me and say, here you go, they're born, they're happy, they're healthy. One's this color, one's this color. And so they will be there when I get back. And so if they'll be there when I get back, and I have very little control over them, and I can't physically do them when I'm hundreds of miles away, then why on earth am I carrying them with me right now? And more importantly, why would I carry them forward getting on the plane to go on vacation? Now, that being said, full stop, I will out myself and say that this is really hard for me to do. I am not miraculous at this. I am not like, oh yeah, I never do that. I am telling you full transparency. This is something I struggle with. So this episode is as much for me as it is for you all, as a way for me to verbally remind myself and you guys listening that this is really important to make sure we do, and to be where our feet are and not carry the things forward that we really have no control over right now. And I think, sometimes I think even it gets more serious if there's things that start to weigh us down and make us emotionally upset. Sometimes we borrow tomorrow's burdens before tomorrow even gets here. And I don't want you to do that. No burden borrowing. Please and thank you. And, we mistake worry for preparation, I think, a lot of times. I think we convince ourselves that worrying is productive. I think I did a whole episode on how worrying is not productive. The actual physical and mental and emotional thing that is worrying is not productive in the least. It takes a toll on us mentally, emotionally, sometimes even physically. But it physically can't be productive. It's not gonna. If you worry that you're never gonna get your lawn mowed because it's always going to rain, worrying about it will never actually cut the grass. I promise. If you have a tree to cut down and you worry about it falling the wrong way, you cannot worry it down and worry it out of the ground. You have to cut it down. So worrying cannot be productive. But worrying feels responsible. Like if we think about something long enough, we'll somehow make it easier. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And we do this, I think, in all walks of life and all different things in all different areas in our life. And I think we also think if we think about it long enough, maybe we'll make it easier. But worrying is not the same as preparing. Planning and preparing has an end. Has a means. Hey, listen, we're going to plan. We're going to go through this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to plan this event. We're going to plan this thing. In this case, we're going to plan a trip and a vacation, what day we're leaving, what day we're coming back, what things we're doing on which day. But worrying keeps going. Worrying is this long infinite line and this drop off into the abyss of nothingness except emotional pain and frustration and anxiety, because worrying has no end in sight once you give it your energy. Because once you start to worry, you can carry it and it will get bigger and bigger. And actually, this just made me thought of a book my kids had when they were little called The Worry Monster. If you are a parent of young kids, I don't know who the author is. This is not like a plug for the book because I know the author, but it was just a really cute book. The Worry Monster. It's about a little girl who carries around this worry, and it starts small, but then by the end of the book, it ends up this big giant furry thing that sits next to her on the playground. And it's just a really cool visual idea of how big worry can get if we give it our energy. So planning has an end. Worry keeps going. And planning says, look, I've made my list. Here we go. I'm ready to do all the things. Worry says, hey, let's think about it 100 more times. And maybe then if we think about it 100 more times, we can think about it 101 times. And then we'll get one more thing to add that will make us even more anxious and even more worry. So planning and worry do two very different things. One brings peace, that's the planning part, and the other one steals it. Worry robs you of feeling like you have a plan and have it all together, because you won't be able to set that down if you just keep giving it your energy, because the what-ifs will just keep going and going and going. So as you think about that, and as this pops up in your life, give yourself permission to wait. And like I said before, this episode is just as much for me as it is for you, because I absolutely need this reminder too. The world doesn't stop because we take a break. And surprisingly, that's okay. Some emails can wait. The lawn can wait. The project can wait. The dishes can wait. In my case, making hay will wait. It has to wait. I can't make it from hundreds of miles away. I have to be physically present on the tractor with the mower and the rake and the tedder and the baler and all those kind of things. So it will wait. It has no other choice but to wait. And the great thing is that I have the power to control the idea that it can wait and really push that into the forefront of my mind. And also, on the logical end of things, it's still June. When I get back from vacation, it will still be June. In the world of haymaking, that's not all that late. We're done with half of the hay. We've got 2 fields down, 2 fields to go. So we're in pretty good shape for the shape we're in. As long as it doesn't pour rain the second I get home and rain for 6 weeks on end, which again, why worry about that? I can't control the weather, right? Speaking of worry and things to not worry about. I can't control the weather, so we're just going to have to let it ride and see what is and what happens. And that's okay. And not everything deserves immediate attention, because sometimes the healthiest thing we can do is intentionally leave something unfinished or unthought about. Not because we don't care, please don't misunderstand me, because you're choosing something more important. Being fully present on my trip, I promise, will make for a fantastic trip for my family and I, and we'll have a great time and make lots of memories. If I'm not and spend the entire time worrying about things that are happening at home or the things that need to happen as soon as we get back from our trip, then I'm going to lose out on so much that's right in front of me, and I'm going to steal so much joy from myself from the trip, worrying about something that I don't need to worry about because it will find time to do it in the future. And another thing I'm trying to do to really lean into this is to fast forward and have, like, I just said we couldn't live in the future, and that's not what I mean. But I'm thinking about this from the forecasted look of years from now. Years from now, I won't remember what hayfields were cut at what time. I won't remember exactly what day the calves are born. I won't remember how clean my email inbox was before I left for vacation. I won't remember whether I crossed every single thing off my checklist, if I weeded and watered my garden, if I did the things I wanted to do. Oh, did I do this or send this text message, or did I follow up with this person? All those things I will not remember. I won't remember them years from now, because I've done this as a look back with things in my life about big moments and things I've remembered. I try to remember like what I was doing, and I remember the memories and the cool and the good things about vacations and trips and time with family. And then I'm like, oh, what were we doing other than that? Had we made any hay that year? I don't know. Was this done? Was that done? Had this happened? And I don't know, because those little things, those trivial things that we think matter so much right now, they don't matter years from now, and they won't. But I will remember laughing with my family. I will remember looking at the looks on my kids' faces when they jumped on that first ride where we're going. I will remember watching a sunset, hearing my kids laugh and cackle. I'll remember the conversations and the things we talk about and our favorite foods and the memories. I will remember those. I know I will, because that's what happens in our lives, right? We make memories, and they become really strong core memories in some instances, but also just memories about trips in general. We remember those things because they're important. And if I'm not present for those, I'm doing myself and my family such a disservice by being somewhere that I'm not actually present with and my feet are. So the little moments that disappear, if I'm staring at my phone or thinking about next Tuesday or trying to watch the weather for home to see if once I get back we can make some hay, it's gonna rob me from the joy of what's right in front of me. So those things don't deserve my attention. And this is a reminder that they don't deserve yours either. If you are somewhere where you are traveling or making memories, just be where your feet are and be present right where you are. And I love that phrase, be where your feet are, because where are your feet? Think about that. How often have you thought about that and phrased it that way? If your feet are at dinner, then be at dinner. If your feet are propped up on the coffee table reading a good book, then read. If your feet are walking because you're taking a walk and it's a beautiful night and you're walking with your family or your spouse or your best friend or one of your neighbors, then be there. Walk where you are. Be where you are. If you're on vacation, then be on vacation. And this is me pointing at myself in the mirror right there, Hiller. Yes, you. Be on vacation. You only get this moment once, right? We only get each moment one time. Even if we try to recreate something, it's never exactly the same, because it will never come in the same time when we are the same age, with the exact same moments. Even if you try to replicate something great, it never ends up being exactly the same. So this is your reminder and my reminder to not spend some time or not spend your memories and your energy where you are not and where your body isn't. And so this week, I have a little bit of a challenge for you guys because I'm going to challenge myself too. Wherever you catch your mind racing ahead, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. The first one, can I do anything about this right now? If the answer is no, then let it wait. The second question is, where are my feet? And where your feet are, that's where I want you to be. And I'm going to try really hard, like I said, to lean right into this. And then finally, what deserves my attention in this moment? What do I need to give my attention to? Sometimes it's your spouse, sometimes it's your kids, sometimes it's your own heartbeat, sometimes it's simply the quiet around you, or the busy around you, or the laughter, or the memories, or the faces, or the food. All those things matter. And all those things are things that we can cling to and use to make core memories. And the other really tricky thing about, can I do something about this right now? We always try to give ourselves like a little bit of bargaining, I think. Can I do something about this right now? Immediately I'm like, well, I could do this. Or, and if I did this, then this could happen. And that would kind of help. And most often the answer, when it's no, it's just no. So let it sit as that. Don't try to what if it and get yourself all wrapped up in, well, I could make this laundry list of doing 17 different things, and I bet I could figure out a way to make this work and make this happen. Because as soon as you do that, you're robbing yourself of all that joy that we just talked about, not stealing from yourself and from your family and the people around you, not by dwelling on it, but by trying to figure out if you can do enough steps to actually make it happen. Trust your gut. If the answer is no, then no. Can I do anything about this right now? Nope, I can't. Then you let it wait. It will be there when you get back. And listen, the other thing, again, this is a huge reminder for me too, is you are not the only person on the planet who can do some things. Now, I know some things rely heavily on us, and this is a big reminder for me too. I'm telling you, I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you all. I get really wrapped up in saying, I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll take care of it and I'll take care of it. Because in a lot of ways, I live a life of response. Someone says this needs to happen and I respond and I go do it. And it's been like this in the fire service since I was a little kid and that's part of it. That's just part of my personality. That servant's heart shows up. But it's also like that in my day-to-day life. People say, well, this needs to happen. I'm like, all right, awesome. Then I got you covered. I want to do this. Okay, cool. Well, the kids want to go to Disney. Okay, awesome. I'll work and make sure we've got enough money and the time and vacation time saved up. And here we go. Let's go. And my dad will call and say, well, we need to do X, Y, and Z at the farm. And I'm like, okay, I got you. I'll do this at this time. And then we'll coming down. Once this is done at home, I'll come down to the farm. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. I got you covered. That's a life of response. Now, it's super helpful and it's a super beautiful way to live, to serve other people. However, it can get really overwhelming and it makes it really difficult to step away from that and kind of whack myself, in back into reality and say, hey, listen, you are not the only one who can do certain things. My stepdad is a fantastic farm helper. My dad lives on the farm. He's been there for 46 years, this May. So he knows the ins and outs of it. He's not the new guy that, he knows what to do. So I don't always have to just say, well, yes, I'll come do it. The response doesn't always need to be, well, let me stop what I'm doing and worry about this and make time for it. So that's another big reminder for you all as well. If there's other people who can help you, rely on them and let them help you. Let them help you is something I struggle with really bad. I have a hard time accepting help because I'm always just like, well, I don't want to bother people and I don't want to bug people and I don't want to ask people for help because everybody's busy and they have things going on. I'll just take care of it myself. And in some instances, people are like, yes, but we want to help. We're ready. We've got the time and the energy and we want to do it. My mom and stepdad are always so good. They're like, listen, we're both retired. We got nothing but time. Give us a list of things to do. Give us stuff you want help with. While you're away on vacation, we'll come mow your lawn. Leave it. Don't worry about mowing before you leave. And I just feel, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to take care of it. I don't want to ask that of people, but ask it of them. Let people do nice things for you. That was another really hard lesson for me to learn. And trust me, it hasn't been easy and I'm trying my best to do it well. But, it's like that thing. Don't worry about things you can't control. Only worry about the things you can control. I've been pretty good about that. I started that mantra a long time ago, and I've really leaned into that one. But this be where your feet are thing, I'm trying really hard to lean into that because I don't want to rob myself of all the joy that's going to be right in front of me. So as we close, you guys, the things waiting for you will still be waiting. Your responsibilities aren't disappearing. Your obligations aren't going anywhere. The work will still be there. The emails will still be there. The chores will still be there. The laundry, the dishes, the practices, the day-to-day routine, the meal prep, the meal planning, the dinner making, all the things that we do all the time, they will still be there when you get back. But this sunset, this conversation, this vacation, this ordinary Tuesday evening where your kids decided to sit and talk to you like adults for 45 minutes straight, those won't last. Those will not be there if you let them slip away. They are the moments you need to step into and to focus on and to be with and to stand in front of them and say, I am right here. Let's absorb this. Let's let this become a memory and part of my life. So wherever you are today, be there. Give that moment, or this moment, quote unquote, this moment, your attention, because while tomorrow is busy waiting for you, today is begging you to look at it and to notice it. It's standing right there tugging on your shirt sleeve saying, excuse me, Mr., Mrs., ma'am, sir, can you look down here? I'm right here next to you. It's like a little kid tugging on your shirt sleeve because they want to play with you. Hey, I'm standing right here. Please don't look somewhere else. I'm down here. Don't look over there. Tomorrow will still be waiting for you at the end of the day. And when tomorrow rolls around, tomorrow can have its turn. And tomorrow can have its turn tomorrow, because today needs to be your time and energy and your focus today. My friends, thank you for joining for another episode of Todd Talk wherever you are in the world. I hope this serves as a reminder that you don't have to carry tomorrow everywhere you go. Whether you be where your feet are today, and wherever they are, let your heart be there too. And I'm going to do my best to remember this myself and to lean into this myself and not lose sight of all the wonderful things happening right in front of me as we travel on vacation. Because remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and don't forget, it will all be there when you get back.